Want to get with you. There's two lists up here. We've done that's for public hearing, public comment. Okay, that's different public hearing. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. You signed these two sheets. It says public comment, but are you here for if you are on this list and you're here for the public hearing over what are we calling that? The Tennessee Steel Building? Is anybody signed this list that's not what they want to talk about? Okay. All right, what issue are y'all here for?
We want to talk about potential amendments to the zoning code that's not yet proposed.
Okay,
that would be public comment.
It's not under public hearing, and there's nothing on the agenda about rezoning or all that. So that's not an agenda item.
Make public comments.
Yeah, it would be comments that are germane to items that are on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Yep.
So did I have any other hands other than those? Because public hearings, the state legislature's made as confused as they can. So they don't think we know what we're doing, but we do know what they're doing. They don't seem to. We have a public hearing on Tennessee Steel Buildings. If that's what you want to speak on, I'll take you off this list. The other thing the state legislature requires us to do, if there's something on the agenda tonight and you want to speak on that, we have a comment section for that. So if does anybody want to speak on anything other than Tennessee Steel Buildings? Thank you. All right. Very good. We'll get this thing started. Madam Clerk, would you call? No, I'm sorry. Out of order already. Commissioner Buckner, lead us in prayer.
Most gracious and loving Father, we come thanking Thee for another beautiful day that we have here, Father. Thank you for all the blessings that you give us this day and throughout our lives. Thank you for the opportunity we have to come here tonight to discuss the business of this county. We pray, Father, that we do things in accordance to your will, and we pray that we do it for the betterment of the county. These blessings we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Everyone stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Simpkins?
Here.
Mr. Ledger? Mr. McElwain?
Here.
Mr. Beatty? Mr. Dawson? Ms. Spicer? Mr. Buckner? Mr. Brett?
Here.
Mr. Petty?
Here.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Grove?
Here.
Ms. Gray?
We do have a quorum. First order of business is approval of the minutes of the May 19th, 2025 meeting. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Petty, second by Commissioner Beatty. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 2 is public comments. We had no one sign up for public comments. This is not the public hearing, but it's public comments. And no one signed up for that. Thank you. Next item of business, committee reports. Any committees to report? Hearing no committee reports. Next item of business is appointments. Planning Commission, Mr. Paul Organ. That name was brought to us 2 weeks ago for the 9th District vacancy left by Mr. Gary Peeler for the 4-year term ending January 2029. Open the floor for motion. Motion by Commissioner Petty, second by Commissioner McElwain. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item of business, public hearings. I know we've got a good crowd here. If you've never been here before, I want to kind of walk you through what we do on this. I'm going to take a look at the list here and determine how much time each of you get to speak. It seems like we have quite a list of about 18 people. I think what we'll do on that is give everybody 2 minutes apiece on this. And at the end, the applicant can make a comment. to finish this up. But first, we'll start with a presentation by the attorney for the planning and zoning on what this rezoning request is. One last thing I remind everyone, if you've never been involved in a public hearing, we do have a level of decorum here, but the same as you were if you're in the court of law. Just address the commission with your concerns. They want to answer questions at this point in time. They'll make their vote and do that later on. But we're here to hear you, direct the questions, your comments to them or myself. And remember, we always need to be nice because we're Dickson County, we're not like other people. First on this, Mr. Mills, let's have you come forward.
For commissioners, I emailed you last week, sort of information on this. Does anybody not have the map that the applicant submitted? I can certainly pass it out right now. Does anybody need that? All right, commissioners, thank you for your time tonight. This is a rezoning application submitted by Tennessee Steel Buildings Incorporated regarding 2271 Nubbin Ridge Road. I want to give you some backstory on how this got to be before you tonight. The county became aware of a zoning violation on the property that was not allowed in the A1 zoning district, which is what this property is currently zoned. In November of last year, the county sent a notice of violation to the property and a corrective action letter, giving the applicant a number of steps to take to bring the property into compliance. That first step is to rezone the property, and the zoning designation that was chosen was the least restrictive based upon the current use, which is the C1 Rural Commercial District. That went before the Planning Commission earlier this year. It received a favorable recommendation. And before coming to this body, it was discovered under the county's new process that was put in place last year that notice was not given to all of the adjoining property owners. So administratively, this application was sent back to the Planning Commission. The applicant complied with that process, sent the adjoining property owners notice, and it went to the Planning Commission in May. Coming out of Planning Commission, it received an unfavorable recommendation, and now it is for your consideration tonight via the public hearing. I know Mr. Reagan's going to talk more about that at the end of this. So a couple of things to note from that Planning Commission meeting, the public comment and the comments of your planning commissioners. There was some concern about the uses on the property and what else could be there than just what was there right now. So in between the Planning Commission meeting and this meeting tonight, the applicant has limited the scope of its rezoning. It has reduced the amount of area on the land that it is seeking to rezone to C1. It has also offered up a number of self-imposed conditions. We don't see self-imposed conditions too often, but what that is, it's limited to the permitted uses under C1, and they've picked several uses that would not be permitted on the property. And that's in the letter I sent y'all last week, and I can certainly go through them. This is not specific to the applicant or to this site or project. It runs with the land. So if this body were to choose to go through the process and rezone this property with those self-imposed conditions would be there forever until this body were to perhaps in the future act to change those. So I just want y'all to be aware of that. So again, this is step one in their corrective action plan. They are seeking a rezoning. It has come out of Planning Commission with an unfavorable recommendation. It is now before you. I know you're going to hear from the public on the public hearing. Then afterwards, Mr. Reagan or I will be happy to answer any questions you have. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. The official announcement is I'm now opening a public hearing for a rezoning request for Tennessee Steel Buildings, Inc., tax map 69, parcel 13.03 and part of parcel 13.04, 22.30 acres, 2271 Nubbin Ridge Road, Dickson, Tennessee, A1 agricultural to C1 Rural Center District. First name on the list is Mr. Scott Beller. As you come up, Mr. Beller, to the microphone, announce your name and your address. For everyone speaking tonight, I will have I'm measuring time. When I hold my hand up, I'm telling you have 10 seconds, and then we'll stop it at that time. Mr. Beller, go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
please.
My name is Scott Beller. I live at 185 Thompson Road. I have one farm where I live there. I own another farm down Yellow Creek, closer to Tennessee Steel Buildings. I come here tonight in support of Tennessee Steel Buildings. As I said before the Planning Commission, I've done over $250,000 worth of business with these men and their business. I guess from my standpoint, they've been paying commercial taxes as a business. They've been helpful in our community. They've sold metal to people to try to help them with projects, and they've done everything they could do to be a good neighbor in our area. From the standpoint of what's there, there's 85 people that work there who make a living there. Plus, there's another 216 sales reps in the Southeast that make their living from Tennessee Steel Buildings and the sales that they make off of it. They're good people. They do what they say they're going to do. And there's going to be a lot of people speak tonight, a lot. The one point I want to make is I bought the new farm that I bought knowing that Ricardo and Carlos and Tennessee Steel Buildings was there. I bought the farm I live on knowing that Tennessee Steel Buildings was there. I have no right to come back and complain now because I bought those knowing they were there. And anybody that come there after the fact, why fuss now? You shouldn't have bought it. Buy somewhere else. That's the only point I got to make.
Thank you, Mr. Beller. Next name I have is C.W. Wade.
I'm C.W. Wade. I lived in that community for 53 years. I bought out there, and they're some of the finest people that I've had any dealings with. The sawmill run me out up at my house smoking all the time. I was glad to see that thing go. And the other people that lived in that holler had to put up with it too. And I've got nothing to say other than that they do a good job and do good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Next name I have on is Larry Street.
Little Larry and Dutch. My name's Larry Street. I was raised on Yellow Creek, been there all my life, seen a lot of changes. Some I liked, some I didn't like, but I have no reason to go against it. These people, I've done business with them. They're great people. They got a nice building. It's clean. It's nice. They got nice offices, and they will accommodate you any way you want to help it. If you want to buy metal, they'll help you. But, you know, they've been there since 2009 building carports. And then they got into the big buildings where they make all the steel for the buildings. So I can't understand why everybody's against them that they've been there all this time and nobody's fussed about it till this comes up. So, you know, that's about all I can say about it. They're really good people. I don't live on Yellow Creek no more. I live 10 miles from them. But I go down there. I'm down there every day somewhere on Yellow Creek. And they're good people. So that's all. And they're hard-working people. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Street. Ms. Yancey, I had your name next. Were you here to speak on this? Ms. Yancey? All right, thank you. Next name I have is Don Beller.
My name is Don Beller. I live at 745 Wilson Hollow Road. Probably about a half a mile as a crow flies from the Tennessee Steel Buildings. Tonight's first night I met some of these gentlemen, but what I want to say is these guys, if they're here legal and they're paying their taxes and somebody let them build the buildings and start the work, I don't see why we want to stop them now. A lot of people gripe and complain about the guardrail getting tore up. Why don't they send the officer down there? That's not these guys. That's the truck driver. And as far as people not liking change, it's going to happen, folks. If we don't change, we will never progress. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beller. Next name is Jason Holman. Thank you, Mr. Holman. Next name is James Root.
Good evening. I live about an eighth of a mile from Tennessee Sheet Metals, and I moved out there with the hopes of getting away from Clarksville because Clarksville is growing out of control. I work in Nashville every day. I'm a builder. So first off, I want to say I do respect them and what they do. That is not what this is about. I currently have 9 grandkids, and in about a week, I'll have the 10th one. 5, soon to be 6, live on the land, and the other 4 are planning on moving out there. So my issue is as it grows, when you start spot zoning, we're changing the dynamic of what I moved to. My intention was to move out in the country and grow my family and have them live there with me. Now, as far as permitting, I deal with it all the time. As far as codes, I deal with it all the time. Absence of the now or ignorance of the law doesn't change the law. So they did get away with some things, and that's a question for a different time. How that happened, I don't know. I would say that I think about my grandkids and the guardrail thing. Yes, that is an issue. And I've seen a concrete truck up against it, seen their semis up against it. The concern is that when that guardrail's flipped up, that's a potential for one of my grandkids to drive into it. And I do have one that's driving now. And God help me when the rest start driving. I bought it. I like hunting. So, and I also preach on Sundays. So I used to go out in the woods and I would prepare my sermons. I don't do that anymore because of the noise. And when I hunt, there's noise. At night, when we sit outside, there's a bright light. Everything about what I didn't want in the city, what I moved away from, has showed up. So I guess all I can say is with the traffic changing, I've come around the bend before, had semis parked there next to the road. At the end of the day, they've made me drive into the wrong lane. If that happened to one of my grandkids and something happened, how do we fix that?
Thank you, Mr. Root.
Thank you.
Next name is Ashley Moffitt.
Hi, good evening, council members. What's that? Okay. My name is Ashley Moffitt and I live in Dickson on Numbin Ridge. I'm speaking today to strongly oppose the proposed zoning change from agricultural to commercial use for the steel company. Over the last 25 years, we have slowly been losing the farm areas in our community. Our agricultural areas help reflect Dickson's rural character and farming roots. As a state, we lose about 60,000 acres of farmland a year. Allowing this property to become commercial will slowly start opening the door for more businesses in this area. And when I say slowly, I mean 20 to 30 years. That was my dad. We came from Clarksville, and I kid you not, from the age of 10 to the age of 30, Clarksville used to be all this farmland. And over time, there's businesses everywhere because they slowly started changing. Replacing all those open fields and quiet country roads with traffic, noise, and concrete. This is about protecting our local environment, our way of life, and the health of future generations. My children, I'm the one with the grandchild that's driving. Commercial rezoning could increase runoff and strain our roads while offering little benefit to nearby residents. Once agricultural land becomes developed, there's no going back. That's why it's so important we make thoughtful, community-first decisions. In 2023, it was discussed to preserve our agricultural land and that commercial property needed to stay near commercial property. There's none out there. It'd be the only piece. and I urge the council to consider the long-term value of keeping Nubbin Ridge agricultural for its environmental benefits, for food production, and for the people who call that area home. Please don't allow short-term commercial interests to erase something we can never replace. Thank you for your time and dedication to us.
Thank you, Ms. Moffitt. Next name I have is Dwight. I apologize. Is it Court? I'll let you pronounce when you get up here.
My name is Dwight Corbett. I live 322 Thompson Road. And I just want to say that I support Tennessee Steel Buildings. The commission has a good chance tonight to clear up a lot of problems. It wasn't his fault that it wasn't zoned correctly years ago. And they operate a good business. They've helped me out. I've went down and had specialized equipment made for what I do. And they've been very eager and willing to help me. And they're just great guys and great to do business with. Looks to me like you can clear up more problems by zoning for commercial than against, because the ISO rating at the fire department, that's being held up. That could be straightened out. Lots of things that, they could be straightened out with the zoning change. That's all I got. Oh, and I appreciate each one of you talking to. Spoke to each one of you or left you a message. You had given me plenty of time to explain what I thought about it, and I listened to yours, and I just want to say thank you for your time and dealing with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next name is Michael Adams.
Thank you. I'd like to lament just a little bit. I don't only have 2 minutes, but first I'd like to thank our commissioner, Dwight McWayne, for meeting with us and trying to work a solution. I've been on Yellow Creek for 9 generations, well before any of this. My farm is downstream. My rented farm is adjacent. Every time there's a rain, topsoil washes away. I'm angry, and I'm not angry at these men. I'm angry at the county. The county's known this has been going on for 5 years. They never did a thing about it. Never any enforcement actions, nothing till someone made a formal complaint. So now all of a sudden we want to spot zone it, and us, the neighbors, have not been given due process, because this public hearing should have been held way before now. And the county turned a blind eye, and now they're telling us we're just going to spot zone it, clear it all up, and y'all live with it. The tractor trailer trucks get hung on that bridge monthly. I see it. It's right at the intersection of my farm. The traffic study that was done did a traffic count. It didn't look at the geometrics of the intersection, nor Edgewood Road, nor Nubbin Ridge Road. It's an issue. It's a safety issue. I know runoff and things like that can be remedied later on, but if you had an industrial site pop up next to your house where you had to listen to backup beepers from forklifts, you had the lights, you had the runoff, and it was washing the topsoil off of your farm, how would you vote tonight? Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to let you know, I asked for decorum like in the courtroom. I don't appreciate the outburst. If you were in Judge Wolf's court, would you have done that? You're not going to do it in my courtroom. So again, please don't do that or I'll have you removed. Next name is Steve Caruth.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Steve Kernut. Thanks for the chance to speak. I appreciate what you guys do. My wife and I bought several parcels on Nubbin Ridge Road 10 years ago, and we live there full time. We're about 1,300 to 1,600 feet from the parcels in question. I'm opposed to the rezoning, partially because it's illegal spot zoning under Tennessee law, partially because without significant work and costs, The current roads cannot support the activity and the runoff is creating problems for downstream farmers. Partially because it goes against nearly everything in the Dickson County document that we count on the county to uphold. But mainly because of what we all know what happens when commercial or industrial spots are placed in the middle of vast agricultural zones. They never go back. They never change. And they grow in ways that none of us can predict down the road. But being opposed to the rezoning does not mean that I'm opposed to this man operating his business. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been that way my whole life. I'd like to see the man stay. I'd like to see him operate his business. There is a way that this county can move forward without rezoning this commercial. There are planned unit developments, may not be a tool that the Dickson County codes allow for now, but they could be added. In fact, rural counties all around urban areas around the United States and in Tennessee use it because it gives you guys and it gives the planning and zoning a lot of flexibility and a lot of control. This is the way they've managed growth. I've got a whole list of counties around the country and in Tennessee who've done this near urban areas. I'd like to see the man keep his business. He needs to fix the drainage. He needs to fix the lights. He needs to fix turning lanes. We can address the infrastructure. And everybody who says he runs a good business, I'm happy for him. But there is a way forward here that does not involve you voting for a commercial spot zone in the middle of agricultural. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Knuth. Next listed is Jody O'Brien.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am here as legal counsel for Mr. Kernut, who you just heard speak, and he spoke to it about as eloquently as I think I can. I just wanted to emphasize a few points from a legal perspective. One, there was a very detailed letter submitted by my co-counsel, Mr. Denton, last week, and I hope that you all got copies, and certainly if you didn't, we can make sure that you do. The two main concerns that we have from a legal perspective are the idea of spot zoning, which you've heard several people raise here. Spot zoning is illegal in Tennessee. It's contrary to the law because what happens with spot zoning is you rezone within this formerly agricultural parcel, and you're doing it for the benefit of one, right? And you're supposed to be serving the benefit of the many. So you can't rezone specifically for the benefit of one. It needs to serve the community, the public safety, the morals, the values of the community. The other issue is contract zoning. Now, I heard tonight that they are modifying their application in order to put specific conditions or limitations, and that supposedly that will travel with the land. I'm not so sure about that. I'd be happy to research it and certainly commend more materials to you. But in my experience and understanding, that is tantamount to contract zoning, and contract zoning also is illegal in the state of Tennessee because you just can't pass zoning restrictions on with the land when it comes for sale, typically. So I would urge you to deny the application as presented. As Mr. Kernut referenced, there certainly is the option of planned developments, and that is an option that he is, and I believe many of the community are willing to explore. Thank you.
Thank you
for your time.
Next name is Thomas Greenlee.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Thomas Greenlee, and I own the property immediately adjacent to the property in question. While there's no question that the gentlemen who live next to me and operate next to me are very, very good men. They are very good men of character, and I have absolutely no concern of them as neighbors. I will say this. I grew up on a family farm that's been in operation for over 200 years. My family has spent many generations fighting commercialization in agricultural lands. I do not want to stand here tonight and tell you that it is a good idea to encroach on the areas that we are committed to maintaining, to maintain our county, our communities, and those that support each and every single one of us. Without the food in your belly, without the drink in your glass, we wouldn't be able to be here tonight. And the only reason we have that is because of agriculture. If you step away from that and rezone this to a commercial area, you're setting a precedent that we can continue to remove agricultural land in this county. My wife is also a nurse at the hospital here in Dickson. As part of her contract, she has a 30-minute response time in an emergent situation. How would you feel if your loved one was the one that was sitting at the hospital waiting on her to get there to save them in that emergent situation, and she wasn't able to get there because there's a truck sitting against the guardrail? How would you feel if there was a truck sitting in the road blocking your way out, her way out, and she couldn't get there to respond to them in a timely fashion? Those are the concerns that I have in this particular situation. You've heard about the lights, you've heard about the runoff, and those are all impacting our community. When you come around that curve in the middle of the night and it's foggy, you can't see because of the lights. It looks like a runway. And so I would ask tonight that you consider the agricultural heritage of Dickson County and really think about what this means for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next name is Gary Baker.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. Listen to a lot of people up here tonight talking about what's going on with the situation with Tennessee Steel Buildings. I'm probably the closest resident to them. I live at 2203 Nubbin Ridge Road. Some of the other people are almost as close, but the steel building property butts up to my fence line. I've got three concerns. Well, I drove down here tonight, come down to Edgewood Road, turn right on Yellow Creek, the bridge that you've heard so much about. The guardrail right now is up 3-4 feet too high. You can't see traffic coming from the Dickson side. Somebody could get killed there tonight. I don't know if it's the steel buildings truck drivers or the people they do business with. I've heard all my neighbors think it's, it's probably they're the cause of it because of that traffic wasn't going to the steel place. We wouldn't have all those issues right there at that intersection. But it's a dangerous intersection right now. My second concern is the future. I'm not an expert or anywhere close to knowing anything about zoning procedures and the way it works. But I know if we go to commercial, the nature of our little Edgewood community, our church, the 3-4 residents that live there, I've been there 44 years. My grandparents were there before that. My father was born just up on the other side of the steel building place. We will lose the personality of that neighborhood, and that's what I'm here to avoid. And I guess the third thing is more of the same. I don't want to see a country area destroyed like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next name is Joe Ober.
Hi, good evening, guys. My name is Joseph Ober. I live 312 Wilson Hollow. I come here today to oppose the proposal to change from agricultural to commercial. It's nothing personal against this man. Several of my neighbors have come and support him. I'm happy that I have a neighbor like him. I'm happy that I have a neighbor that will go out and help other neighbors that are in need. My concern is not so much about the building. It's about the precedents that setting up a commercial area inside an agriculture area sets forward, because what is to keep other people from doing that? And then we have a bunch of commercial buildings coming in. Chances are they're going to get tax credits from the county for them moving their commercial building in. Our property taxes are going to go up. Their taxes get delayed for 10, 15 years. That's usually how it goes when they bring in a certain amount of jobs to the community. The infrastructure right now in our neighborhood is relatively new. We already deal with hardships there. We already deal with spotty electricity. We are, depending on how many people are taxing on the grid, we already deal with low water pressure. If we start, and it's not specifically his building, but if we allow more commercial industries coming in there, it's only going to put more hardship on the tax-paying people that are already there. And I mean, that's what we're going to have to deal with. We moved out to rural areas and we expect to deal with a certain amount of hardships, being that we're so far out of city limits and everything, and that's fine. But to just legislatively do it with the stroke of a pen, I mean, that's just an unnecessary hardship, my opinion. So thank you. That's all I had to say.
Next name is Nelson Pierce.
My name's Nelson Pierce. I've lived on Yellow Creek my whole life. I don't have any personal vendetta or anything against these guys. They have a right to run a business. But my concern is it's a bad precedent to set when you let somebody buy a piece of property, not go through all the proper channels that you're supposed to go through. How do you tell the next guy if they buy land right next to your house or your house or your house and just start clearing land and building something? How do you tell that guy you can't do that? Whoever that may be or wherever that may be. That's my biggest concern, is that we just didn't follow the procedures that everybody else has to follow. Everybody's got to get permits and everybody's got to go through the proper channels. That's my biggest concern. It's nothing personal, none whatsoever. But just, you know, your property, how do you tell? And I don't understand, because I know the powers that be, the codes, they knew it was there for a long time. So how did we get to this point? I've never heard anybody of any authority address that issue. How did we get to here? That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Last name I have is Ariel Show.
Hello, my name is Ariel. I live at 2415 Nubbin Ridge Road. I've lived on Nubbin Ridge for the past 5 years. This place isn't just where I live, it's where we built our life. We've planted roots there, made memories, found peace and quiet in the connection that comes with the agricultural living. I'm not saying these are not good men by any means, because I'm sure that they are. What I'm asking you tonight is to please vote against the proposal to rezone our area from agriculture to commercial. Changing the zoning threatens more than just the property lines. It threatens the way of life we've worked hard to build. I chose this place because of what it is, not for what it could be commercially. The idea of more traffic, more noise, more development coming into our backyard is deeply concerning, not just for me, but for my children and our neighbors. We need to preserve the green space, the open skies, and the purpose this land was meant to serve. Once we lose agriculture land, we rarely get it back. Please consider my families like mine who call this place home, not just a piece of land on a map. Thank you for your time and listening.
Thank you. At this point in time, the applicant would like to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, I'll take just a couple of minutes, but after the public hearing and you get ready to discuss it, we'll talk about any of the technical things that you would like to hear. I know I've heard a lot of things. We've got to remember too, this particular property, there are two properties involved. One, the one beside Mr. Baker, was a sawmill once upon a time. Volunteer veneers, I believe. I don't know a lot about them, but just our research, then they built a building that Mr. Ricardo has then expanded. This was in about 2008 or so. And the drawing that you've got in front of you, that particular parcel that had the sawmill, we're asking you to leave that A1 because the owner doesn't have any need or any wants to actually develop that. The other parcel, we took a lot of that off and have left that A1. You can see that on your drawing. So I will leave it at that, but I'll be glad to answer any of your questions at the proper time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. That closes the public hearing at this point in time. The request is taken up under other business. So we'll continue with our regular business. When other business gets here, the commission will take that up at that time. First, under resolutions, first resolution is a resolution to authorize certain amendments to the budget established for the county's general purpose school fund, Fund 140 Fund, Federal Projects Fund, Fund 142, Central Cafeteria Fund 143, and/or Capital Project Fund 177. We have school board representative here. Is there anything y'all have to present to the commission tonight that y'all have not already presented? Do you have any questions for Dr. Sutherland or Ms. Underhill? If you don't, we'll open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Grove, second by Commissioner Brett. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 2, resolution to authorize certain amendments to all funds of the county budget, accepting all the funds established for schools. Mr. Hall.
You have all of our funds from 101 through 172. You received those Friday, I guess. There are quite a few amendments for all these funds here. We walk a fine line going through these funds with my staff. We want to make sure we get everything covered, but we try not to just load it up. But we have to get as much stuff covered here so that we don't get the comptroller's office on us, so I can answer whatever you may have questions on. But yeah, we walk a fine line in these amendments and that type thing. So we definitely have to cover the expenditures for all the departments, all these funds that you see, without trying to drain the fund balances and that type thing. But again, we have to try to cover everything so we don't get findings and that type thing during the audit process. So, but yeah, I mean, this is the end right here for fiscal year 2025.
Any questions for Mr. Hall? There are no questions. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Ledger to approve, second by Commissioner Petty. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Item number 3, contract between Dickson County Sheriff's Office and Flock Safety. This was brought to you by the sheriff and presented 2 weeks ago. There's a question that we have about the bidding on this that we're trying to get approved by the controller before we go forward. I think it's in the best interest of the county for us to move this down to our July 21st meeting, our next meeting, if there's no objection. Hearing no objection for the commission, we'll move that down to the next meeting. Item number 4. Item number 4 is capital outlay note resolution of Dickson County, Tennessee, authorizing the issuance of interest-bearing convenience center capital outlay notes, series 2025, an amount to not to exceed 1.2 million, and providing for the payment of said notes. This is the grant anticipation note that we're getting the FEMA grant for. That is to go and start the work on the convenience center here in Charlotte. So that when that money comes in, we'll pay this. But as I told y'all 2 weeks ago, we have a accepted bid on this property, and it's a good one, and we don't want to lose it. So we want to go on and borrow this money temporarily until our grant money comes in. I'll be glad. Motion by Commissioner Simpkins. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Spicer. Any questions or discussion? We have enough money in our debt service to pay it, but I do not anticipate that occurring at all. This is leftover money from FEMA from the August 2021 flood. We're getting $3 million total. We're putting $1.2 million into this convenience center and putting the remainder amount of money into bridges for a highway department. They have to be used for remediation. They can't be spent on just anything. Just informationally, Humphreys County, because of the damage they had, they have $34 million pending coming into them to rebuild their, I believe, junior higher elementary school over there. So we're just having to wait through the process, but it's still in play. Thank you for your question. Did I have a motion second? Oh, I did. Okay. Any other question, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 5, capital outlay note. Resolution of Dickson County, Tennessee, authorizing the issuance of interest-bearing Archives Department Capital Outlay Note Series 2025 in an amount not to exceed $140,000 and providing for the payment of said notes. This is the note to complete the archives work in this building. The revenue is, it's basically like a revenue note. We get court fees in that go to archives that will repay this note over a 4-year period, and will pay it 100%. It requires no additional revenue from the taxpayers of Dickson County. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner McElwain, second by Commissioner Beatty. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 6, resolution authorized the county to enter into I'm sorry, that's not it. Let's try this one. Do that look familiar? Resolution to authorize purchase of real property. This is the property, the 6 acres that's right above the convenience center that we're that we just approved the work on. This will give us 6 additional acres for the cost of $150,000. This is to be paid out of our county fund balance. Open floor for motion. Motion by Commissioner Laser, second by Commissioner Spicer. Any questions or discussion?
Understand.
That can be used highway and convenience center, where we're going to get back with the highway department's already looking to place. They want to lay pipe up there for storage. And then the convenience center, we're going to look to add depth to it to get it, see if we can move a little further off Highway 48. Thank you for your question. Any other questions? Have a proper motion second. Hearing no other questions, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Commissioner Grove shows us a no. Next item is other business, rezoning request for Tennessee Steel Buildings Incorporated, tax map 69, parcel 1303, and part of parcel 13.04, 22.30 acres, 2271 Nubbin Ridge Road, Dickson, Tennessee, A1 Agriculture to C1 Rural Center District. Mr. Mills.
Commissioners, just to clarify, I think it's important for you to know the next steps in this process, should you choose to rezone this property. It'll involve a plat, a site plan, and the building permits for all the buildings, as well as building permit fees and adequate facility taxes. As part of that site plan, there's going to be a traffic impact study with possibly recommended road improvements. So it is a whole process. This is not, I want to make clear, this is not a rezoning request that then is done. There are a number of steps that would happen after this. And again, that's part of the corrective action plan that was sent out in November. And obviously happy to answer any questions you have from Mr. Reagan or myself.
You said 3-step. That was 1 and 2. That was a
Building permits. So I put plat and site plan kind of together in the middle. They'll have to do that at probably about the same time with a traffic impact study, and then building permits for the buildings out there that didn't exist before.
So I guess going through what you just mentioned about the traffic impact study. So it would be in the planning commission's hands if they decided that they need to be a turn lane or improvements made at Yellow Creek Road and I guess Edgewood.
It would have to be based upon findings in the traffic impact study, based upon the use and what is the anticipated, because they have to look at it from as if this was blank land, right? They're coming in to build it. So it'll have to be clear that that would be the scope of the traffic impact study. But yes, it would be up to the planning commission on what would be appropriate based upon what they're seeing. And obviously we don't have a traffic impact study. We have a traffic assessment that y'all saw, but that's just a quick glance. That is not an in-depth traffic impact study.
So I get just one.
Please, I'm sorry.
Just one more question. So I know the planning commission voted it down and I haven't talked to any of those members, but I did watch the meeting and I did research, a little bit of the zoning ordinance and that. And so I guess I know this area, I know the growth plan. I know we, chapter 1101, we adopted this in 2000 and 2007, we amended it. And this area was to stay as agricultural, as a rural area. And so when I look at those, even in chapter 1101 and even, in our regulations, it specifically calls out that, this area is to be reserved as agricultural, to preserve it, for all these things. And then, I look at the video, somebody sent me a video that shows them bringing the steel in and making it. We've had somebody tonight say they got 85 employees. And so I'm sitting here in my mind looking through a lot of this, and it almost like it's an M1 zoning, which I know an M1 zoning can't be in a rural area. So at this point, to me, it's like, if this can go in a rural area, really, an M1 zoning this really ought to be in the industrial park. And if this is not the case, then really any industrial could just be in A1 in a rural area. Do you think that that's the reason the planning commission voted it down?
I can't say what the planning commission was thinking. Obviously, you watched the meeting. I was there. There was certainly concern about other permitted uses in C1. There's 14 permitted uses in the C1 zoning district. It's called the Rural Center District. I think there's probably an argument that C1 could be allowed anywhere in the county. I think you're correct that other zoning districts like M1 would not be appropriate anywhere in the county. But ultimately, I want to make this clear, this is one of the powers this body has, that y'all get to decide what is appropriate for a parcel of land in terms of its zoning. There's a lot of factors you have to look at, but this is a legislative act. The way any court would review such an action is whether or not you had a rational basis, any reason to find that it's appropriate. So in a lot of ways, if you voted to rezone this and there were reasons stated, that's typically going to pass muster. So is the opposite. You get to decide what property in Dickson County is zoned. The reason C1 was picked in this process was it was the least intensive that could accommodate what's there. It's not C2. It's not any of the industrial districts. It's C1. And one of those permitted uses talks about agriculture and light industrial, which is a defined term in your zoning resolution. And that fell into this. Anything outside of light industrial would not be permitted, and it'd have to be zoned something else. So it'd have to come back to you if the use was going to change. I don't know if that fully answers your question, but y'all are a deliberative body that gets to make that decision. Tonight, you're voting on whether or not to send it on for a formal vote in July. The public hearing you just had.
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Grove.
we are the formal body that gets to make the ultimate decision. But we're having to make a decision over a lot of people that screwed up over the last 10 years. And now it's landed in our desk as a mess. And whatever we're going to do is going to make somebody upset. And I'm almost like Mr. Pierce. How did we get here? How did it get this bad? How many people messed up this long to put us in the situation we're in now to have to make this decision? It shouldn't ever happen here. I hope the county, I hope the mayor, I hope the planning and zoning, and I hope our attorneys steps into place to make sure that this never happens again. Because now we're affecting people's lives. We're affecting a man's business, his livelihood, employees. We're affecting people around him, and it shouldn't have got to this point. I wish I'd had the decision to make before the ground was broke. You're right. This is now y'all have made a mess, and now we've got to make a decision. A lot of people's made a mess, and now we've got to make a decision. And this is not in my area. I'll never go to Nubbin Ridge. I'll never see them people down there. So I'm inclined to hear what the commissioner in that area wants to do. And I'm going to back what Dwight says because these are his people and this is his land. But that's the way I feel about this whole entire mess. I'm kind of like Mr. Pierce. How did we get here to this situation all these years later? So I'd like to hear Dwight, what Dwight's got to say.
Any other questions? Commissioner Simpkins.
I'm going to look at it from the legality to start with. And I think it's been said that these people are already paying commercial taxes. Is that right? Are they paying, what is their tax rate? Are they been paying as a business, like a commercial since they've been in business? Are they paying agriculture?
So the way the assessment works is they don't look at what the zoning is. They go out and look at the use. Part of this parcel is taxed commercially, the part that is used commercially. The rest is taxed agriculturally. So it's a mix on the parcel itself. Some of it where this activity is occurring, where the metal fabrication operation is occurring, is being taxed commercially.
So if we chose to deny this, can this company come back and ask for their commercial money back that they've been charged for the years that they've been in business? Tax money.
I don't think we'd be in a position to answer that tonight. Could they make that argument? Sure. Would that argument be successful? I wouldn't be able to answer that tonight.
Commissioner Gray. Commissioner Gray.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Grove again. We keep getting mixed up in our names. Back to the process of the correction action plan. When they received it, they were told to seek rezoning to C1, and you referenced that light industrial uses is also included in there, but I read that section differently. I read it to say agriculturally oriented commercial or light industrial uses. I really failed to see what agricultural use this industrial light would be. But then when I watched the video from this company and saw the YouTube video of the raw steel that they fabricated and made into these buildings, I'm with Commissioner Williams. This isn't C1, this is M1. And there's no way I could ever approve C1 for this. It's M1, and this is definitely not an M1 area. I don't even foresee how it got, like Commissioner Grove said, I don't even see how it got to this point. But I don't foresee this working at all.
Any other questions or comments? No, Commissioner, can you?
There was mention that spot zoning is illegal in the county. Okay, if that's true, how are we able to rezone any piece of property if it doesn't lie within a city or an industrial park or any area in the county legally? How can we do that on anything that's been passed in the past since we've had zoning? What year did it start? 76, 70? What year did zoning
I think it was
start?
late 80s.
80s?
I don't know. I was young.
So would that go back to every piece of property that we have rezoned for a building or a manufacturing company or a car lot, grocery store that doesn't rely not in a city or in an area that is designated for that? I mean, that's one thing I'm really unclear about. And Brian or Mr. Mills, maybe somebody can give us a little information on that. How explain that to me, please.
So spot zoning is illegal in Tennessee, but it is a term of art. It has a very specific definition. And to your point, it gets thrown around a lot. And if it was true in all these instances, nobody could rezone anything ever. We've looked at the spot zoning question. It was brought up by one of the public speaker's attorneys in the letter that was sent to you. We do not find that the C1 zoning designation here would be spot zoning. Again, it's in this body's call to determine if that's appropriate, but it's not spot zoning. Spot zoning, again, is a very specific definition defined by our courts, and it's not present here.
Brian, is that true?
I agree.
Agree. Listen to that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Commissioner Beatty.
What's gonna happen to the building? Go to court? I mean, do they go to court? I mean, do they tear them down? What happened?
Right, so if the zoning request is denied, then effectively what this body is directing the county to do is to take all legal action to shut the business down.
And I can't see where people had any common sense to do that. I couldn't do that. No way.
Commissioner Beatty, did you have a question?
I guess that was my question. If maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I guess that kind of answered it a little. I guess my thing was, yeah, I don't want to vote to shut them down and keep going. My thing was, why can't they just pay what they owe us, fix what they need to fix, and let's keep rolling? Now, I guess that's what I didn't understand. So we have to do a C, we can't do any of that in A1. Hey, pay us what you owe us, fix what you need, keep rolling. It has to go to a C1 or something.
Commissioner, you're talking about sort of the later steps. This came, and again, to answer some other comments, when this came to our attention, action was taken to say, hey, you're in violation of the zoning resolution. The use you are using here is in violation of A1. You need to be rezoned if you want to keep operating, because there's not a mechanism to just ignore the zoning. It needs to be zoned appropriately. So A1 does not allow this type of use. And there may be a question about, is this use allowed in C1? And we can certainly have a discussion about that. But planning and zoning feels that it is and submits to you that it is, but it's definitely not allowed in A1. And that's why the rezoning is the kickoff to all of this. Thank you.
Yeah, and to be clear,
Commissioner Petty, I'm sorry.
so to be clear too, when the corrective action plan was sent out, it was not a plan to say you can have it rezoned. It was to say you're not in compliance. So there's really one of two options. You either stop operating and come into compliance, or you take this step forward to see if you can get the property rezoned and go through all the proper steps. And so that was the corrective action plan that was sent out. The applicant made the decision to move forward with a request for the rezoning, which is what brings it before you now.
Commissioner Brett,
Second vote.
let me read this, Commissioner Brett, and I'll make sure for clarification. On the request to rezone the property before you tonight, a motion and vote to approve the rezoning request at tonight's meeting will not be a binding vote for approval, but will instead send this matter to the July 21st, 2025 regular meeting for final and binding approval of the rezoning. Anyone wishing to change their vote on this matter at the July 25th regular meeting will be able to do so. And that's that statement. Yes, Commissioner Petty.
This is a bad situation, and you can dig back through it, whose fault, what happened, when did it happen? And we're gonna go all the way around the world, and we're gonna wind back up right here on this. So if there is some sort of resolution where the best of a bad situation can be made for the community, can be made for the business owner, and can be made selfishly for the county. We get our 2 pieces of silver for what should have been done, a little bit of oversight and guidance. I think the business owner in their presentation, they're trying to do right. So I don't, at any point, I think, situations like this come up. And so if this body can do their dead level best to make everybody gets hurt a little, or everybody gets helped a little, however you want to look at it, I think that's probably the best avenue we had to take. And so with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the rezoning request and send it to the July meeting.
Have a motion, have a second.
Yes, second.
Second by Commissioner Dawson. Questions, discussion? Commissioner Williams, absolutely.
So let's say they go through the 3-step process and everything is approved. Then can they come back later and expand on what's there now?
Well, keep in mind, the site plan is designed to encompass everything that's there right now. And I think they're fully aware of our procedures at this point. If they wanted to add a building or remove a building or whatever, they're going to have to come in with a new site plan or an amended site plan. So the planning commission would have oversight over that.
But there's room for them to expand. I guess my question is it possible for them to expand even more?
I'm not an engineer
Okay,
or a builder,
that's fine.
but where the buildings are on the map, there is space around there. So I would say it's certainly conceivable that there could be more there.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Commissioner Gray.
Thank you. I would just like to say that I think we're also missing out on the other people in here that are also upset about the situation. And those are the people that live out in the agricultural land, the farmers, the people that moved out there to be away from the city, to be away from industrial environment. I drove out there for an hour and I drove around. That was the only thing I found out there other than farmland, more farmland and farm homes. This just sticks out like a sore thumb. And I don't understand how we're here, but I also feel for the other people whose investments are also their property and how this affects their property. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I think, Mr. Mayor, I think it's two pieces of commercial property, where the store is on the corner down there and burn up. I think that was commercial, and that little store up there where they barbecue and everything was commercial. So I think it was just two spots. It was small ones, was commercial. It was on Yellow Creek, if I'm not mistaken.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Madam Clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Sim. Mr. Ledger. Mr. McElwain. Mr. Beatty. Mr. Dawson. He said aye. Okay. Ms. Spicer. Mr. Buckner. Mr. Britt. Mr. Petty. Mr. Williams. Mr. Grove. Ms. Gray. Okay, we have
Motion passes. This will be on the 21st of July's regular session. Next item of business, approval of notaries. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Andrew Brogdon, Lisa Cood, Nikki Hamilton, Whitney Hildy, J. Reese Holly, Tracy Mangrum, Audrey Manley, Deborah Meadows, Leslie Moda, Hope Palk, Tiffany Patrick, Amanda Ridgway, Stafford Rist, James Daniel Richardson Roberts III, Maya Rabaka, Melinda Spicer, Randy Taylor, Evelyn Martinez, Toby Vernon, and Porter Wood.
Motion by Commissioner Britt, second by Commissioner Beatty. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Announcements. I know before we meet again, Mr. Petty, you'll be celebrating a birthday. We are. Mr. Petty's dealt with some issues over the past week, and we're glad you got that behind you. We're glad that you are here with us tonight. And did you bring a special guest with you tonight? Good to have you, Ms.
My
Petty.
driver, my keeper, my guardian, everything else.
And probably aggravated you came to this meeting tonight.
Well, I told her it was gonna be short.
Are there any other announcements? Yes.
Wife is with me tonight because I couldn't drive either, so we're on the same boat.
Where's Miss D? Where is she there? Here. Oh, she's way back there.
I had a
Good to see you.
laser cataract surgery this morning, and I would have thought I would never be able to do anything, but if you ever have, if your doctor tells you that that needs to be done, don't be afraid, because it don't take long and it don't hurt.
I don't remember it that way, but thank you for your. Before I make the final announcement of this meeting, what we do every summer or June, we combine some meetings together. What I'm about to do, you'll hear me adjourn this regular meeting, then we will go immediately into the July's work session. We moved that up several years ago, so we had trouble getting everybody to show up on 4th of July week. So we do it tonight, and then we'll show back up in 4 weeks to take up the issue that most of you hear about. So this one, I promise, shouldn't take more than 10 minutes, but you're welcome to stay if you like. But I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and I'll make the announcement. This meeting, the next regular session meeting, will be on Monday, July 21st at 7 p.m. in the Buford L. Booty Reed Jr. County Commission Chamber of the Dickson County Administration Building, Four-Court Square, Charlotte, Tennessee. We'll take just a minute and let these folks clear out.
I wasn't going to interrupt you. But the special they can do that at the
Hey man, how you doing? I'd like to call to order the County Commission work session for June 23rd. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Simpkins?
Here.
Mr. Ledger? Mr. McElwain?
Here.
Mr. Beatty? Mr. Dawson? Ms. Spicer? Mr. Buckner? Mr. Britt? Mr. Petty? Mr. Williams? Mr. Grove? Ms. Gray?
First order of business is approval of the minutes of the June 2nd, 2025 work session. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Petty, second by Commissioner Dawson. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 2, committee reports. Any committees report? Hearing none. Next is appointments. Sanitation Board, Mr. Robert Wetterow is up for reappointment. We brought his name. We would like to carry his name to the July regular session for reappointment. Motion by Commissioner McElwain, second by Commissioner Buckner. Any question or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item under number 4 in the new business is staff South Star TIF. That's the tax increment financing. Mr. Mayor Grove, in this case, is very familiar with that. We talked to y'all probably about this property at the end of last year, end of calendar 24, about bringing this to you. What we're doing is putting together a tax increment financing, which is the same as basically as a pilot. What we're going to do with that, along with the city of Burns, is there's a neighborhood going to be built. It's on Highway 96 heading eastbound. It's on the left-hand side of the road where old East Side crosses, runs basically all the way to White Bluff Road. And in that area there, they're going to build a neighborhood. It's not, the road is Old East Side Road. It's not adequate to be in that neighborhood. So the agreement that we worked out with the city of Burns is to do a TIF where the tax money from the property will pay to build the new Old East Side Road and turn it into a proper road. And the city of Burns will, at that point, will annex it. It'll become a city street of Burns. The property between Old East Side and Highway 96 is in Burns, but for a myriad of reasons, there will be no access to this property or these properties off of Highway 96. So this will be the road. The deal is to recoup all the way from Old East Side up to White Bluff Road in the front of Greater Things, that is Greater Things Academy there, to where that becomes a proper road on that. So that's the gist of it. Ms. Terry Malone, our economic developer, she's here with us tonight. She has worked like a champion on this deal. What we're asking for tonight is to set this up to move it to our regular session on July 21st. She'll have the more particulars on this. What we have to have done is that's been worked on, or a process been worked on, is called a economic impact plan. That is not completed yet, but it will be completed before we meet again. And when that's done, we will present that to you in advance of this meeting, because it'll be a longer document. We'll have it to you a week before we meet. If you don't have it to you a week before we meet, we will push this into August for a special meeting then, but I need y'all to have time to look at it. It's a little different from what we've done before, but if you want a comparison, it's almost the exact same thing we did where the shopping center was built, and we did it in conjunction with the city of Dickson that built that street that runs between Highway 46 and Beasley Drive, where all the shopping center stuff was. We're setting it where that's where we are. The thing we are not, what we did on that property, remind you too, the taxes being earned on that property today, we will continue to earn. So we're not giving them a zero. We're going to continue to earn on that until the value of that property goes up, pays off the loan to build the street, and then it would go to 100% taxes on that. So it's I think, and Ms. Malone and Mr. Reagan, they're more legal technical than me. Does that hit the high points on that? Did I leave anything out? The other question would be that I do not recall the exact number, Ms. Malone. How many units are going to be built in this neighborhood? Okay. Do you have any questions in general? No.
Okay. But the school board would also get their impact fee money from off that house.
Yes, adequate facilities tax, we are collecting that. We're not walking away from that, and that goes for schools.
Then the old taxpayers has to pay for the road. This is a very innovative way that Mayor Ryle and Terry has come up with to make them people pay for their own road instead of the existing taxpayers pay for the road. So I think this is something that Mayor Ryle ought to be commended on, to making the people that building the houses pay for the road instead of the existing taxpayers have to pay for it.
It's kind of, you say, but it's a team effort. It took a lot of folks. That it's like the whole football team. Everybody had a part to play in it, but especially Mr. Reagan, Ms. Malone, and the law firm of is it Bassbury and Sims? No. Who is it? Help me out. Who? Tom Trent. Right. Sorry. That was the other deal. Sorry. I'm mixing deals up, people. That's why you have good folks around you. But we're asking to move this on to the regular session on July 21st. But I'll be glad to answer any questions. Motion by Commissioner McElwain, second by Commissioner Ledger. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Commissioner Mayor Grove. Abstaining. Sorry, old people have to take notes now. The next item is another tax, it's not a tax increment finance, it's actually a pilot for a company called Clear Blue. Clear Blue is, when, as y'all recall, we formed the Economic Development Housing Corporation. I think we actually finalized that about 2 months ago. We appointed the board last month where that's in place. This is the first deal that they'll be looking at. This is for workforce housing. It's an $85 million investment that will, it's using the Tennessee Housing Development Agency standard to determine all the even income on this. The people that live in here have to be between at 30 to 80% of the average median income. So what we're trying to do is folks that are working, but they will get a discount based on their revenues. We, as y'all well know, we need places for folks to live, to work that are affordable, and this is the first step in that. It doesn't employ a lot of people. They'll have 3 to 4 people on site working that, but at the $85 million investment is huge for housing. You can do, THDA allows us to do up to 15 years, but after working the numbers, we are only recommending a 12-year pilot on this program on that. And I'll be glad to explain any details on that. But this goes back to the goal we were trying to achieve by putting the housing board in place so we can get more affordable housing for our folks that work retail jobs and work in the industrial park. Because as you know, we have a lot of folks, we need more employees. We don't have enough employees in Dickson County, and we have that 7,500 that drive in every day from mostly the 3H counties, Hickman, Humphrey, and Houston, but we need them here. And this is one of the goals to get that done, to get the housing where we need it. Won't cost us anything. It'll be much like the TIF that we talked about on this. We will initially get taxes, and Ms. Malone, it was, how much a unit was it? So the 200 units, $200 a unit for the 228 units, that's what we'll get. And it'll have a 3% increase every year until it's fully taxed at the end of the 12 years. So it gives an opportunity for folks to live, and plus we still earn money. So no, it does not cost us any additional money. I'm sorry. No, they own the property. We're just giving them an incentive.
Just so I'm understanding. So in that calculation, so they're not going to pay the county tax. Is that what you're saying? They're just going to pay the fee. I guess I'm trying to understand how that.
I'll let Ms. Malone get into you're getting into the gory details.
The $200 per unit is the tax. So they're paying $200 per unit. And then for property taxes. And then it goes to whatever the assessed value.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
228. So I think the first year they'll pay 40,500, I think is what it was. And then every year it'll go up.
45.6 the first year.
45.6.
Well, if say an individual contractor come out and wants to build 50 units and everything, he's gonna start paying taxes or whatever they're praised for, and you let these people get off with $200, isn't that a little bit of discrepancy there? I mean, how would people see that?
I didn't understand.
Well, I think that something that's going to be presented here in a second is a pilot policy for you to consider. And part of that is included in there, that this gives an opportunity for developers who meet a certain scope to apply for these types of concessions. And there's incentive points. It rolls out and they get, that determines what schedule they are. So that 50 unit could, depending on how they score in their incentive, be incentivized as well. It just depends on the variables and I'll let them talk about the pilot policy.
But in the county, bills could wind up doing that then.
If they meet the criteria within the pilot policy that's approved by you guys.
And the goal is to build affordable housing. So it's just regular housing. This is not for that.
Who's going to determine the rent on them, or the payments or whatever? They're going to be sold or they're going to be rented? And is the government going to pay the rent or part of it?
No, sir. This is done by the, administered by Tennessee Housing Development Agency, who is allocating these awards of credits through the IRS. So these developers are building it and offering a discounted rent based on what the average income is for our area. But the residents' rent isn't based on their individual income. It's based on what the average is for our area. So it's not Section 8 housing specifically. Someone who makes $50,000 could be paying the same amount of rent as someone that makes $35,000 for a 2-bedroom. So it's the low income housing tax credit program has been around since 1987. And the only way to build affordable housing in mass quantities is this program. And so that's how.
Well, the reason I was asking, because most time people got rentals and stuff, and the housing will go in there and tell them what you got to do, and they'll pay 80-90% of it.
Right.
You know, so taxpayers still wind up paying for it. You know?
Right.
And
This is not that. They're given an incentive to build, but they have restrictions that are required by the IRS and THDA that they have to abide by.
Any other questions? Good one. Well, we're asking y'all to move this forward. The other thing that will be a part of this, I think as y'all all recall on the industrial development awards in place, is that they can offer a 7-year pilot on behalf of the city and the county without coming back to this board. Anytime we do anything outside of that, that's when we bring a pilot back to for y'all. The other thing this board is working on, because it's measured differently, is something similar, but won't be a year thing. It'll be a grading situation. We want to get that out to you before the next meeting, but that will also accompany this, what we're doing, where they can set up a long-term policy where if it meets certain criteria, we won't come back here every time. It won't be anything outrageous because we don't want to do anything that would dig into our pockets, our tax dollars. But over the years, the 7-year was pretty standard, but we frankly haven't done a lot of 7 years, as I recall. The Industrial Development Board hasn't, because we don't incentivize average things anymore. When we incentivize something, it's big, and we give them a bigger incentive, which of course we come back to y'all. And if it's in the city of Dickson, they have to go to the city council. But it's still a work in progress, but they can't offer that themselves until y'all approve that. So that's one reason we're here, but we want to make sure long-term that we get something in place. That way, when Ms. Malone and Industrial or the new housing board talk to somebody, it's like, here's what we can do. Now, if you want something outside of that, we got to come back and see the county commission and the city council. So we'll also have that as a part of this on our July 21st meeting.
I just see a little bit of conflict between some of the, builders and whatever. It's especially if the county's going to give incentives like that. So
I understand. Thank you. Any other questions? I haven't got a motion for this, have I did. Rusty did. Okay. Did I get a second? Thanking Commissioner Williams. Any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Ironically, we have some property that it's in burn, so I don't know if Charlotte wants to vote for this or not, but I'm just teasing you. Were y'all able to hand this out to all the county commissioners? If one of y'all would like to describe what you're asking the county of.
We're offering to give the county, if you look on that map, y'all have already took some of it, I guess, on the existing site without out talking to us.
Yeah, this.
But the front part I'm gonna give you, if you turn on Maple Grove, that front corner we own too, that goes with the old site. We just want to go ahead and convey it to the county. It makes more sense. We can't do nothing with it and it joins y'all's property. Then go ahead and give the property that y'all have already took evidently. Go ahead and make that all official and give you everything on the right side of the road. We'll stay on our side, you stay on your side.
Well, you know, you've upset Mr. Reagan because he did not get that property right. The title insurance is going to have to cover it. So
Hey, we want our money. No, it just cleans it up. I mean, we have pieces on both sides where y'all built a new convenience site, and we're not like Charlotte. We don't want $50,000 an acre. We're gonna give it to you.
that's easily reasonable of you. That's true leadership, and we appreciate it. But we have the recommendation. I'll get the motion from somebody else to accept this property, and we will make sure it's completely title searched and know who the true owner is when we show back up on July 25th.
Yeah, y'all gonna survey your off? Are you gonna survey?
All right, we will.
Let me make sure you look at it because their last survey wasn't real straight. You know what I'm saying?
I'll have my attorney talk to your attorney.
Yeah, you do that.
If I need a motion second on that. The motion by Commissioner Petty, second by Commissioner Ledger. Any question or discussion?
Can I vote? Can I vote just not to take it?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
The only look, Stacy,
Appropriate if somebody
lady,
that.
the only reason I don't vote for that because I don't want the county to take that off the Charlotte's tax records because it might hurt y'all's public safety. You know what I'm saying? Money y'all invest in it.
Well, see, he was doing it out of the kindness of his heart. All in favor of this, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Commissioner Beatty? Okay.
No, go ahead and say no. Put him down no.
Is there any other business to bring up? Hearing none, the next work session meeting will be on August 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Beaufort Booty Reed Jr. County Commission Chamber, the Dickson County Administration Building, Four Court Service, Charlotte, Tennessee. Have a motion second adjourned. Bam.